Do not attempt to adjust your set. This is a streaming freedom video bulletin. It cannot be stopped, and it is the only free voice left on the net. Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. For today's Skyrim Mod Showcase on PS4, we're going to be taking a look at a mod that aims to add dynamic lighting to the various light sources of Skyrim. So before actually activating this mod, I'd like you to take a moment to observe my breeze home here, specifically in the middle, the shadowing that you're seeing being cast on the chairs. While there is some shadowing there, and that could be being caused by another mod that I currently have active, as I've had mods in this game for so long I don't remember if it does this in vanilla or not, you will notice that the shadow doesn't interact with the fire. It doesn't move. It's kind of just staying in place. So what this mod aims to do is to give realistic shadowing, something that I haven't really seen on PS4 from the time that I've played in any case. So what we're going to attempt to do here is a little bit different than I normally do it, but I will go ahead, go in, turn the mod on, record the section for that mod, but splice in here the mod being active so you can see what it looks like. So I'll be back with you guys in just a second. Okay guys, so if you would again please direct your attention to the middle there near the chairs, you'll notice that now as the light of the fire moves, the shadow is actually moving as well. The light is interacting with it. It's no longer just a still image. And this looks extremely nice in my opinion, and is something that, at least in my playthroughs with various mods that I've tested throughout my time in Skyrim, not something that I've seen on PS4, perhaps commonplace on PC or Xbox, but this is extremely nice in my opinion and is a really good mod to have. So let's go ahead and take a look at how you can find this mod and what it is called. So to find this mod, press L1 to bring up the search function and then type in MJBABYFACE. Now I know you won't be able to see my keyboard when it doesn't, it won't record that, but you will see it right here how it looks. Type it in exactly as you see it. It is More Dynamic Lighting by MJBABYFACE, and as far as I know, this is probably the first version of the mod. Again, with the changes that they've made, I can't really tell. Something else to note is that this mod was ported from the Nexus, and so it says by PeaceoftheWorld, which I am assuming is the one that ported the mod. The description in part reads, gathered most of the relevant light sources in Skyrim using SS Edit and set them to dynamic. I've reduced the amount of directional shadow being cast, removed excess flickering from light sources, and also changed directional shadows to dynamic. Omnidirectional shadows for torches, mage light, candlelight, fireball, larger fire sources like campfires, bonfires, fire pits, and chandeliers only. Now I'm going to go ahead and scroll this down here, but definitely read through all of this if you are planning on using the mod. But something that I wanted to point out, being as this mod was originally from the Nexus and so was most likely created for PC first, some of the stuff that is listed here will not be available for PS4 users because of the no external assets rule. As such, it is right here, the custom torch that was supposed to be included will not be included in the PlayStation version of the mod, so keep that in mind. Now, some things that I would like to point out in my testing of this mod is that while the mod description does state that this plugin needs to be loaded near the end of your lighting plugins, I will say that you will probably have to kind of tinker with it in where it should be placed in your loader for what you're using. I actually loaded this before my later lighting mods because I didn't want them possibly being overwritten by this, like surreal lighting, and it's working just fine. So it's not necessary that you would have to have it on like the lower end of your lighting plugins. You might be able to still have those load lower so that they get priority. Just gonna have a seat, huh? But in any case, we'll go ahead and get a little bit closer here so that you can really see. But as you can see here, the shadow will constantly move, and now this does happen in some areas of the game but not all, which is something that I want to point out here. You'll see that I'm not casting a shadow. Let's go ahead and see if I can. There we go. Now I'm casting one here, but watch what happens if I go back into first person. Now, as you can see, I'm not casting a shadow. So that is an oddity with this. You will only cast a dynamic shadow if your character is in third person. Now, characters that are around you, like Lydia over there, if she's near the light source, she will cast it. However, I have found that it doesn't cast it in all areas. The taverns, for example. This is something else. As you can see, my hands are emitting fire, which is lighting the area up in here. That is because of a separate mod that I'm using. But that mod needs to be loaded after this mod. If you load it before it, it gets overwritten and it will not work. So if you happen to be using, I'll have to put, I can't think of the name of the mod, I'll put it in text right here. If you happen to be using that mod, then you need to know that that needs to be loaded after this mod so that you don't lose the effect. As you can see, we also have dynamic shadow casting here on the chandelier. And one other thing I will go ahead and show if we come in here is that the shadowing in here, if I go ahead and cast a candlelight spell, that again, if I'm in first person, you can't actually see that I'm casting a shadow, which is a shame. Now you'll see Lydia is though, that she's casting it from this spell, but that I'm not. So I have to go into third person if I want to end up casting one. And that is something to keep in mind again with this mod, that for whatever reason in first person you won't actually be casting shadows, which is unfortunate. But as we go back into first, you'll notice that actually the mage light is casting a shadow here on this shelf, and that is something I'm going to do in this mod. I'm going to, near the end of this video, splice together a comparison footage of Skyrim running without the mod versus with it, so you can kind of see how it is changing things and affecting them. And one thing to keep in mind with it though is it doesn't affect the lighting everywhere for some reason. Some places I've noticed I don't cast shadows at all, specifically like the taverns or some modded player homes. But I do want to show the mod running at night, because something that is really neat to do with the guards is that they cast dynamic shadows from their torches, and that will like interact with the buildings and stuff. So let's take a real quick look at that if we can find one. Their AI pathing is kind of messed up right now, but good, he's walking around. So as you can see, he's casting a nice long shadow that actually is interacting there with War Maidens as he turns the corner. And it's just a little touch, but still something that is appreciated, something you would actually see. And once you've seen that it's like that, and then you don't have it active, you definitely notice and miss it. And speaking of things that you notice, one thing I've noticed that kind of looks odd to me is the shadow of the torch itself there. I don't know, to me it looks a little odd. Maybe it's supposed to look like that, but maybe that's why they were going to have a custom model of the torch, but that was omitted from the PlayStation version. Still though, it's nothing really, it's no issue or anything. To me the mod runs pretty good. I haven't noticed any FPS drops or anything. So I'm going to go ahead now and show some footage of the mod not running versus running, so that you can kind of see the difference here, whatever it is that I can get. Few things I quickly wanted to point out. With the mod active, here you'll notice that the guard and the banisters cast a dynamic shadow, but the furniture does not. Here you'll notice that even in third person, I do not cast a dynamic shadow, neither does Lydia, even though it's the same building. It's still Dragon's Reach, but the mod is not affecting the fireplace in the kitchen. Light sources added by other mods, such as these lanterns, also seem not to interact with the mod. As you can see, I do not cast a shadow, and neither does Lydia. And some interiors, like the Sleeping Giant Inn, for whatever reason, again, no shadow is being cast. It could be because this interior has been altered by a mod. I'm not certain. And okay guys, that will be it for this mod showcase. I'll splice in a few things that I need to show as well. If you're interested, definitely check it out, but please read the description all the way through for the mod. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video. Take care. This has been the Streaming Freedom Video Bulletin. Peace out.